कमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नाम श्रेष्ठं मनमपि शचिपुत्रमत्र स्वरूपं रूपस्याग्रमुरुमातुरीं कोटवारीं राधाकुण्डं गिरिवरमहो राधिका माधवाशां प्राप्तो यस्य प्रतिकृपया श्रीगुरुं तन्नतोऽस्मि। नमस्ते गुरुदेवाय सर्वसिद्धि प्रदायिने सर्वमंगल रूपाय सर्वानंद यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेत कृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातराज्भावो पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरविनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मणिमान्तोऽसि। हे श्री गुरु ज्ञान बंधो स्वानंददाता सिंधो वृंदावनाचीनहितावतार प्रसीद राधा प्रणय प्रचार त्रयस्तु हो जगन्नाथ गुरो संसार वंदिना तक्तं मां कारदष्टं च त्वामहं शरणं गतः राधा सन्मुख संशक्तिं सखी संग निवासिनी तामहं सततं वन्दे गुरुरूपां परां सखीम्। First of all, offer my billions of obeisances to lotus feet of Asmade Guru Pad Padma, Nitila Prashtijat Guru Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and also offer obeisances to lotus feet of Trinity Sannyasi, Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj, Nam Nishta Santa Shri Aniruddha Swami. Also offer my humble obeisances at the lotus feet of Prahlad Maharaj and Bhagwan Narsingadev. Today is a very important day for Vaishnavas because today is the appearance day of Lord Narsingadev. Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Jai Jagadish Hare. Lord Keshava assumed the form of Narsingadev to help the devotees. So we should try to discuss today the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj. Shri Prahlad Vacha. Kaumar Acharet Prapyo Dharman Bhagavatan Hiya Durlabham Manusham Janma Durlabham Manusham Janma Tadapi Adruvam Arthadam Kaumar Acharet Pragyo Dharman Bhagavatan Iha Durlabham Manisham Janma Tadapi Adruvam Arthadam. Shri Prahlad Uvacha, Prahlad Maharaj said, Kaumaraha, in the tender age of childhood. We should try to pursue Krishna consciousness when we are very tender. Acharet means should practice, must practice. Pragyaha, one who is intelligent. What is the sign of real intelligence? Jai Krishna Bhaje Sevada Chatur. The sign of intelligence is one who worships Krishna. Oh, that person is certainly very intelligent. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Krishna Jai Bhaje Sevada Chatur. Unless one is Krishna conscious, he cannot be called an intelligent person. So real sign of intelligence is actually Krishna consciousness. A devotee should not be a foolish man. So devotee, Krishna Jai Bhaje Se Bada Chatur. So devotee knows his position and is intelligent enough to deal with others accordingly. So here, Prahlad Maharaj is using the word Pragya, one who is intelligent, Dharman, occupational duties, Bhagavatan, which are devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iha, in this life. Durlabam, very rarely obtained. Manusham, human, janma, birth, tat, that, api, even, adruvam, impermanent, temporary, arthadam, full of meaning. Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of life, the human form of body from the very beginning of life, in other words, from the tender age of childhood to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, although temporary like other bodies. It is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. So actually, I was reading. I was in Badger actually. Gurudev once he told that this Badger Gurukul very important. He said, I want this Badger Gurukul to be successful. All devotees should send their children here. You should have such a good reputation. Because you have to cultivate the children from very young age. If they grow too much older, then it is difficult to correct them. But at a young age, they can be molded. They're malleable. If you know the metallurgy, then it says ductile and malleable. Something that can be shaped properly is malleable, and something that can be drawn into a string is called ductile. So here Prahlad Maharaj is telling that very early age you have to catch the children, educate them. So here, Salpam aptasya dharmasya trayato mahatavya. Even a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Even little advancement, even if he had chanted the name of Krishna, even once, he is not afraid of Yamadutas. Ka pareta nagari purandara, ka bhaveta tadiya kinkara, Krishna nama jagati kamangalam, kantapita murari karoti che. If someone has chanted Krishna Nam, then he has no fear of Yamadutas, the messengers of death, or the god of death, Yamaraj himself. Modern civilization, not referring to the verdicts of Vedic literature, is so cruel to the members of the human society that instead of teaching children to become brahmacharis, it teaches mothers to kill their children even in the womb on the plea of curbing the population. So I see there are some countries, there is Ireland and all, they don't allow abortion. And there are some states in the United States also, they don't want to allow. There is simply, they are scaring the people. That population will increase, you will not get food to eat. India is now the most populous country in the world, and still Indians, I see plenty of food is there. And despite wasting so much food, still Indians have a lot of food. Indian godowns are overflowing with the grains, and the farmers are still pushing for more grain farmers, but government doesn't have enough capacity to store them or to distribute them. So this is actually a misconception that if population will increase, there will be no food to eat. The Mother Earth can provide as much food as we need, more than what we need, provided the population is God conscious. And if by chance a child is saved, he is educated only for sense gratification. So first of all, they will try to commit abortion. There is some in America. There is so-called very sweet name, Planned Parenthood centers, and all they are doing is conducting abortions. Understand? Using all means, any means, every means possible. There are some tablets you take within 72 hours of your intercourse, the baby will be dead. Then there are ways to stop pregnancy right in the way. Male contraceptives, female contraceptives, and then finally, if that doesn't work, they will go for abortion, clinical abortion, which is the most horrendous. I don't want to describe on this auspicious day what goes on in the name of clinical abortion. So here, gradually throughout the entire world, human society is losing interest in the perfection of life. Indeed, men are living like cats and dogs, spoiling the duration of their human lives by actually preparing to transmigrate again to the degraded species among the 8,400,000 forms of life. So people are losing interest in the perfection of life. Further, this particular chapter will come. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi vishnum दुराशयाये बहिरर्थमानिना अंधा यथान्धैरुपहीयमानस तेऽपि शतन्तु मुरुदात्मपथ्या. So Prahlad Maharaj teachings, they were so great that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada studied these teachings 108 times. Who is telling? Nati viduhu swartha gatim hi Vishnum. They don't know that service to Vishnu is their ultimate welfare. They are not interested in service to Vishnu. Rather, they are living like cats and dogs, only procreation. The Krishna consciousness movement is anxious to serve human society by teaching people to perform devotional service, which can save a human being from being degraded again to animal life. So, we don't want to go to the animal life. There are so many species of animals, but human species are less. Jalaja Navalakshani Stavaraani Lakshvimshati Krumaya Rudra Sankhyakkyo Dashalakshascha Pakshina. So there's actually lower animals. So chronological order is given. First of all, aquatics. Jalaja Navalakshani, 9 lakh types of aquatics. Sthavarani Lakshvimshati. Stavara means trees, plants. Then come the flies. Flies means insects. Krumaya Rudra Sankhyakkyo, 1.1 billion insects like flies and all. Dashalakshashtapakshina. Then they like 1 million types of birds. Then the beast. And then the human being. Bhunam Jamanamante Jnanamanam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarviti Samatma Sturlabha. After wandering through so many species, one comes to know that Bhagavan Sri Krishna is everything. So here, as stated earlier by Prahlad Maharaj, Bhagavad Dharma consists of Shravanam. What is Bhagavad Dharma? Prahlad Maharaj is telling. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Shravanam. Shravanam is very important process. Prahlad Maharaj is telling. Who got perfection by Shravanam? Sharangi, Shravane, Parikshita Bhavat, Vayasaki, Kirtane, Prahlada Smarane, Tadangri Bhajane, Lakshmi Prutu Pujane. अक्रूरस्त विवंदने सुरकिरदासेत सख्य अर्जुना सर्वस्वात्मनिवेदने बधिरभूत कृष्णाप्तिरेषां परम. Simply by hearing Harikatha, Parikshit got perfection. By doing Kirtan, Shukdev Goswami got perfection. Prahlad got perfection by simply remembering Krishna, by chanting Hare Krishna. Lakshmi got perfection by massaging the lotus feet of Krishna. Prithu Maharaj by doing Archan process. Arjun by Sakhya. Hanuman by Dasya, like this. And Bali Maharaj by surrendering everything to Krishna. And also he was related to Prahlad Maharaj, that also helped him. So in all the schools, colleges and universities and at home, all children and youth should be taught to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the system of Gurukul. The Gurukul system, we have to reintroduce in all. Sripad Dandi Maharaj also has the desire. Actually, in Anandham, they started one Gurukul. There is one Didi, her name is Yashoda Gopi. And some Brajavasi children, 30 children are studying there. And they are provided food, prasadam from Radhe Kunja. And Anand Sarup Kelaji has given the place for this Gurukul. 30 children are studying. It's a small beginning. But I am pretty sure that these children, they will become good citizens. And they will be certainly having different characteristics than the mundane children. They will stand out in the crowd because they have been taught, educated about Krishna from early age. In other words, they should be taught to hear the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, to put them into practice in their lives. So Bhagavad Gita is very practical book. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat jihosi dadasi yat tapasisi kaunteya tat kurushya madarpanam. Is it not practical? What you read, you offer it to me with tulsi leaf. And Bhagavan is promising. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti apahurtam ashnami prayatatmana. If you offer me something with love and affection, I'll accept it. So Bhagavad Gita should be implemented practically. And Bhagavad Gita says, be like Prahlad. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dhradavrata namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayuktasya yogina. Always glorify my names and offer pranams to me, like Prahlad. So thus to become strong in devotion service, free from fear of being degraded to animal life. Everyone is afraid that, oh, I'll be degraded into lower species. So, tiryak yoni. This is actually, tiryak yoni means to become an insect, dog, hog. This is actually a very funny thing. In my childhood, when someone will pass away, then they would put some flour, weak flour in a plate. And they say that the footprints of the species that departed soul has acquired, those footprints will be imprinted in that flour, which is placed in a plate. And many people have experienced actually. You see the footprints. Sometimes different footprints. So if you get dog's footprints, then the departed soul has become a dog. If he gets cat's footprints, then he has become a cat. You know what I mean? Paws will be there. Paws. So, anyways, this is an ancient method. I don't know how true it is, but my mother used to tell that this is the case. So, it is based on their conviction. So, some indication is given by the divine Lord that what departed species, what body acquired. So, following Bhagavad Dharma has been made extremely easy in this age of Kali, the Shastra says. So, Bhagavad Dharma has been made very easy. Now, this particular shloka in this application is missing, but it is above here. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyatha. In this age of Kali, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. The only way is Nama Sankirtan, Hare Krishna Mantra. Now, is it very difficult? It's a very easy process. Even a child can chant Mahamantra. You don't have to be PhD. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj apparently is author to one particular stotra called Haryashtakam. In that he says, Harir Harati Papani Dushta Chitteirapi Smrtani Chayapi Sansprushto Dhadevahi Pavaka. Harir Harati Papani. Prahlad Maharaj, actually he was born in demonic family, but he's telling very clearly, Lord's name is so powerful that if Lord's name is so powerful, even if you unknowingly chant this name, then it will destroy your sins. So this is the power of Haryashtakam. The names of Hari, they should always be chanted. We should never do anything else but chanting the holy names. Always chanting the holy names. He's telling, Sa Ganga Sa Gaya Setu Sa Kashi Sa Cha Pushkaram Jivagre Vardate Yasya Hariritya Sharadvayam. All the places like Ganga, Gaya, where Shraddha is performed, Setubandha Rameshwaram, Kashi, and Pushkar. Pushkar is the one leg formed by Brahmaji's lotus. But all those holy places are present on the tip of your tongue if you are uttering the name of Hari. Then he's telling, वाराणस्यां कुरुक्षेत्रे नैमिषारण्ये एव च यत्कृतं तेन येनोक्तं हरिरित्यक्षरद्वयम्. That person who has uttered the name Hari even once, he has already visited Varanasi. He has visited Kurukshetra and Naimisharanya. No need to visit all these places if he has uttered the two syllables Hari. पृथिव्यां यानि तीर्थानि पुण्यानायतनानि च तानि सर्वाणि अशेषाणि हर्याक्षरद्वयम्. All the holy places are present on the planet Earth are already visited by a person who has chanted the name of Hari. गवाम कोटि सहस्राणि हेम कन्या सहस्त्रकम दत्तम स्यात्तेन येनोक्तम हरिरिति अक्षरद्वयम्. A person who has uttered the two syllables Hari, Prahlad is telling, then he has already donated billions of cows and he has donated so many young girls to the qualified grooms, and the girls are decorated with gold from head to toe. But more benefit will come by uttering the name of Hari, even more than that. Rugvedo Atajurveda Samavedo Apyatharvana Aditastena Yenoktam Haririti Aksharattvayam. That person who has chanted the two syllables Hari, oh, he has already uttered Rugved, Yajurved, Samved, and Atharvaved. Ashwamedair Haya Ashwamedair Mahayagir Naramedastataiva cha Ishtam Satyenoktam Haririti Aksharadvayam. A person who has chanted the two syllables Hari has already performed millions of horse sacrifices, human sacrifices, and also everything. Prana prayana patheyam samsara vyadhinashanam dukhatanta paritranam haririti aksharadvayam. If you want to become free from distress, lamentation, you want to become free from the distress of material existence, and when you are going to Vaikuntha, if you want some foodstuffs to eat on the way, that is Harinam. Baddha parikarastena mokshaya gamanam prati sakruducharitam yena haririti aksharatvoyam. If someone has uttered the name Hari even once, that person is qualified to go to Vaikuntha planet. Haryashtakam punyam pratarutthaaya yah patet ayusham balamarogyam yasho vritti shriyanmayam. If someone will chant this Haryashtakam written by Prahlad, oh, he will get a long lifespan, he will get strength and young age, and he will also be very famous. Prahladina Krutam Stotram Dukkha Sagara Soshanam Yapate Naroyati Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. This particular stotra is compiled by Prahlad Maharaj. It will completely dry up your ocean of distress. If anyone will utter this stotra, then he will certainly go to Vaikuntha. So therefore, this particular wonderful Shri Haryashtakam by Prahlad Maharaj is actually worthy of memorizing. Uh, this is certainly worthy of memorizing. So therefore, I am posting it in our Bhagavatam group. Translation also in future I will put it. I request all of you to read this and try to understand the meaning. This is very, very important. This Haryashtakam is very, very important. So, anyways, one only needs chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Everyone engaged in the practice of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra will be completely cleansed from the चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापणं श्रेया कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधू जीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्. Let there be all victory to the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence.
Hi, Vishnumarjan, but from Sri, we can't hear you now.
That is what Prahlad Maharaj said. One has memorized all the four Vedas. If he has uttered the two syllables, Hari. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shikshashtak has also said the same thing. Huh? So, the second verse of Prahlad's teachings to the demon children, Yatha hi purushasyeha Vishnopādopasarpanam Yadesha sarvabhutanam Priyatmeshvara Srut. Yatha, in order that he means indeed Purushasya of a living entity. Here, Vishnu of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pada Upasarpanam, approaching the lotus feet. Yet, because Esha, this Sarva Bhutanam of all living entities, Priya, the dear one, Atmeshwara, the master of the soul, the super soul, Surut, the best well-wisher and friend. The human form of life affords one a chance to return home back to Godhead. Therefore, every living entity, especially in the human form of life, must engage in devotional service to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. This devotional service is natural because Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the most beloved, the master of the soul, and the well-wisher of all living beings. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram yajya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram surudam sarvabhutanam yatva mam shanti vrikshati. The sage who knows me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wishers of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Simply by understanding these three facts, that the Supreme Lord Vishnu is the proprietor of the entire creation, and that he is the best well-wishing friend of all living entities, and that he is the supreme enjoyer of everything, one becomes peaceful and happy. For this transcendental happiness, the living entity has wandered throughout the universe in different forms of life and different planetary systems. But because he has forgotten his intimate relationship with Vishnu, he has merely suffered life after life. Therefore, the education system in the human form of life should be so perfect that one will understand his intimate relationship with God or Vishnu. Every living entity has an intimate relationship with God. One should therefore glorify the Lord in the adoration of Shantaras or revive his eternal relationship with Vishnu as a servant in Dasyaras, a friend in Sakhyaras, a parent in Vatsalaras, or a conjugal lover in Madhurras. All these relationships are on the platform of love. Vishnu is the center of love for everyone, and therefore the duty of everyone is to engage in the loving service of the Lord, as stated by the Supreme Personality of God in Bhagavatam 3.25-28. Yeshamam priya atma sutascha sakha guru surudo daivamishtam. In any form of life, we are related with Vishnu, who is the most beloved, the super soul, son, friend, and guru. Our eternal relationship with God can be revived in the human form of life, and that should be the goal of education. Indeed, that is the perfection of life and the perfection of education. So, real education means to know that Vishnu. यदि मधुमथन तद अंग्रि सेवा हृदि विददाति जहाति सा विवेकी तदखिलमपि दुष्कृतम त्रिलोके कृतम कृतम न कृतम च सर्वम. A sinful man, if he serves Krishna, he'll become free from all the sins. But suppose even a pious person does not serve Sri Krishna, then that pious person will lose his piety and will become more sinful. So the real education is understanding Krishna. You see, Prahlad Maharaj is only a 5-year-old child, but highly educated, highly learned. So only the devotees of the Lord, headed by such great personalities as Prahlad Maharaj and Narad Muni, are interested in the real education of spiritual life. One cannot understand the principles of religion while staying on the material platform. Therefore, one must follow these great personalities as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Who should we follow? Srimad Bhagavatam tells. Swayambhur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Palirvaya Sakir Vayam. One must follow in the footsteps of such great personalities as Lord Brahma, Narada, Lord Shiva, Kapila, Manu, Kumaras, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhishma, Janak, Bali Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami, and Yamaraj. Those interested in spiritual life should follow Prahlad Maharaj in rejecting the education of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. One should be interested in spiritual education. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world, following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, who did not like any of the materialistic education he received from his teachers. So that is the real education. So what is the real education? The real education means to give up the false idea that anything is separate from the Lord, the source of all potencies. This is real education. So that is the thing. So yesham aham priya atma sutasya sakha guru surudo daiva Vishnu. In any form of life, we are related with Vishnu, who is the most beloved, the super soul, son, friend, and our and guru. Our eternal relationship with God can be revived in the human form of life, and that should be the goal of education. Indeed, that is the perfection of life and the perfection of education. So, Prahlad Maharaj's teachings are very, very important. That Prahlad Maharaj is teaching us how to become successful in life. So, the real success in life is Ante Narayana Smriti, remembering the holy name, attributes, activities, and form of the Lord at a time of death. Although we may be engaged in the Lord's devotional service in the temple, material conditions are so tough and inevitable that we may forget the Lord at a time of death due to a disease condition or mental derangement. Therefore, we should pray to the Lord to be able to remember His lotus feet without fail at a time of death when we are in such a precarious condition. So, this is very, very important. That's why we should pray to the Lord. Oh Lord, when I leave this world, please make sure that I remember your holy name. विवशानां न स्मरणाय ज्वर मरणादशामपि सकल कश्मल निरसानि तव गुणकृत नामधेयानि वचन गोचराणि भवन्तु. We should pray to the Lord. Oh Lord, when I leave this world, some or the other make me remember you. So, Ante Narayana Smriti. Ante Narayana Smriti. We practice chanting all life long, then at the time of death, we'll be able to remember Krishna. So, the next verse, Sukham Endriyakam Daitya Deha Yogena Dehinam Sarvatra Labhyate Daivat Yatha Dukkham Ayatnata. Very important verse. Sukham Endriyakam Daitya Deha Yogena Dehinam Sarvatra Labhyate Daivat Yatha Dukkham Ayatnata. Sukham, happiness. Indriyakam, with reference to the material senses. Daitya, oh my dear friends born in demonic families. Deha yogena, because of possessing a particular type of material body. Dehina, of all embodied living entities. Sarvatra, everywhere. In any form of life, labhyate is obtainable. Daivat, by a superior arrangement. Yatha, just as. Dukkham, unhappiness. Ayatnata, without endeavor. Prahlad Maharaj continued, my dear friends, born of demonic families, the happiness pursued with reference to the sense objects by contact with the body can be obtained in any form of life, according to one's past fruitive activities. Such happiness is automatically obtained without endeavor, just as we obtain distress. In the material world, in any form of life, there is some so-called happiness and so-called distress. No one invites distress in order to suffer, but still it comes. Similarly, even if we do not endeavor to obtain the advantages of material happiness, we shall obtain them automatically. This happiness and distress are obtainable in any form of life without endeavor. There is no need to waste time and energy fighting against distress or working very hard for happiness. Our only business in the human form of life should be to revive our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become qualified to return home, back to Godhead. Material happiness and distress come as soon as we accept a material body, regardless of what form. We cannot avoid such happiness and distress under any circumstances. The best use of human life, therefore, lies in reviving our relationship with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So don't hanker for happiness or don't worry about distress. But we should try to revive relationship with Krishna. Uh, मानस देह गेह जो कीछु मोर अर्पिलु तुआ पदे नंद किशोर मानस देह गेह जो कीछु मोर अर्पिलु तुआ पदे nanda kishore. So we should offer our mind, our body, our household, everything to the service of Krishna, like Prahlad Maharaj offered, like Bali Maharaj appeared. So we think that I am independent, I am king, I have my soldiers, my society, I have my community, my family. But actually, these are not all ours. देहापत्य कलत्रादिषु आत्मसन्नेषु असत्सपि तेषां निधनं प्रमत्ता पश्यन् अपि न पश्यति. Know that you will going to die one day. Just like a man fights, just like Hitler declared war, or so many wars are declared. This man is declaring. Everyone is thinking, I am independent. And so we are thinking that, oh, we have got so many soldiers, so many atomic bombs, and so many airplanes. We shall come out victorious. Similarly, each and every one of us, we are thinking, I am independent, and my wife, my children, my society, they are all my soldiers. And if I am in danger, they will help me. This is going on. This is called Maya. Pramattah tesham nidhanam pashyan api na pashyati. Because we have become mad after this so-called independence of God. And we are thinking these things will help us, will protect us, but that is Maya. Tesham nidhanam. Everyone will be destroyed. Nobody will be able to give us protection. If real protection is wanted, you will have to take protection of Krishna. And that is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचा. You rascal, you are thinking that so many things will give you protection. That will not be possible. You will be finished, and your so-called protector and friends and soldiers will be finished. You don't depend on them. This is not my language, Swami Maharaj language. Very harsh. So he's telling, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. You just surrender unto me. I will give you protection. Aham tam sarva papebhyo moksheshami ma shucha. This is the real protection. Everyone is falsely thinking independent, but he is independent, but he is depending on false platform. That is the mistake of this material civilization. They are thinking of protection from a filtering platform, material world. So we have to take shelter of Krishna. Krishna is very friendly to all of us. Therefore, he comes down from Vaikuntha to inform this. That is Bhagavad Gita, and that is elaborately explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the only thing. So the crisis, people are faced with so many crisis problems that I told in the airport. The reporter asked me, what is the solution of this crisis coming? The solution is Krishna consciousness. It is already there. But you rascal, you will not take it. Solution is already there. If the Arabians think that this oil is Krishna's property, and the others, purchasers, they also think Krishna's property, then they must agree also. Hmm. So see that this is Sripad Dandi Maharaj many times he tells that actually India is purchasing so much oil from the Arabian countries. So we are dependent on them. Understand? So we are dependent on them. They decide our foreign policy and everything. America also must agree that this land of America is also Krishna's property. So Americans have had to agree. Americans claim this is our land, but actually it is not their land. It is Krishna's property. If you think that the Arabians' oil is Krishna's property, God's property, we shall take it by force. Then why the Arabians should not be allowed to come from the desert and live in America? You see, the Americans think that whatever oil that is available in Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, it is God's property. So if it is God's property, then the land of America is also God's property. So if Arabians should allow you to take oil because it is Krishna's property, then you should also allow them to come and stay in America because that is also Krishna's property. But they're foolish; they will not come. They have got United Nations, but United Nations means simply committing mistake. That's all. That is their business. Why don't why don't you get united? Yes, this Arabian oil is Krishna's property. Similarly, Australian land or the African land or this American land. So vast tract of land. But no, you cannot come here. Yo means like they are like barking like dogs. Show visa, show passport, show me this bank balance, show this permission. They say the immigration department, you see, your department. Your department means always barking at the immigrants, tourist visitors. So here, we cannot avoid such happiness and distress under any circumstances. The best use of human life, therefore, lies in reviving our relationship with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Tat prayaso na kartavyo yat ayurvaya param na tatha vindate kshemam mukunda charanam bhujam. Amazing verses. Ah. तत्प्रयासो न कर्तव्यो यतायुर्व्ययं वयापरं न तथा विन्दते क्षेमं मुक्त चरणं tat for that sense gratification and economic development prayasa endeavor na not kartavya to be done yata from which ayuh vaya rest of the duration of life param only for ultimately no not no, nor tatha in that way Vindate enjoys Kshemam, the ultimate goal of life, Mukunda of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who can deliver one from the material clutches, Charana, Ambujam, the lotus feet. Endeavors merely for sense gratification or material happiness through economic development are not to be performed, for they result only in a loss of time and energy with no actual profit. If one's endeavors are directed towards Krishna consciousness, one can surely attain the spiritual platform of self realization. There is no such benefit from engaging oneself in economic development. We see materialistic persons busily engaged in economic development all day and all night, trying to increase their material opulence. But even if we suppose that they get some benefit from such endeavors, that does not solve the real problem of their lives, nor do they know what the real problem of life is. This is due to the lack of spiritual education, especially in the present age. Every man is in darkness, the bodily conception of life, not knowing anything of the spirit soul, and its needs, misguided by the blind leaders of society. People consider the body to be everything, and they are engaged in trying to keep the body materially comfortable. Such a civilization is condemned because it does not lead humanity towards knowing the real goal of life. People are simply wasting time and the valuable gift of the human form of life because a human being who does not cultivate spiritual life but dies like the cats and dogs is degraded in his next life. For human life, such a person is put into the cycle of continuous birth and death. From human life, such a person is put into the cycle of continuous birth and death. Thus, one loses the true benefit of human life, which is to become Krishna conscious and solve life's problems. So I agree, there are problems in life, but try to become Krishna conscious. Then all problems will be solved. But birth, disease, old age, and death. But once you become Krishna conscious, no more birth, no more death. So Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, 4.9, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata tattva deham punarjanma naiti mamiti suarjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So if we know the reason for Nrsimhadeva's appearance, Krishna's appearance, Rama's appearance in this material world, will be liberated. This is the perfection of life, and the real solution is to life's problems. We should not be eager to go to the higher heavenly planetary systems, nor should we act in such a way that we have to go to the hellish planets. The complete purpose of this material world will be fulfilled when we resume our spiritual identities and go back home, back to Godhead. The very simple method for doing this is prescribed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarvapapyabhyo mokshishyami ma shucha. One should be neither pious nor impious. One should be a devotee and surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. The surrendering process is also very easy. Even a child can perform it. Man mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. One must always simply think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One should become Krishna's devotee, worship him, and offer obeisances to him. Thus, one should engage all the activities of his life in the service of Lord Krishna. So, this is very, very important. ततो यते कुशला क्षेमाय भवम आश्रिता शरीरम पौरुषम यावन्न विपद्येत पुष्कलम. So these are not very big verses, but they are very, very important. ततो यते कुशला क्षेमाय भवम आश्रिता शरीरम पौरुषम यावन्न विपद्येत पुष्कलम. ततः, therefore, yatet should endeavor. Kushala, an intelligent man interested in the ultimate goal of life. Kshemaya, for the real benefit of life or for liberation from material bondage. Bhavam ashrita, who is in material existence. Shariram, the body. Paurusham, human. Yavat, as long as. Na, not. Vipaddeta, fails. Pushkalam, stout and strong. Therefore, while in material existence, Bhavam Ashrita, a person fully competent to distinguish wrong from right, must endeavor to achieve the highest goal of life as long as the body is stout and strong and is not embarrassed by dwindling. So, if your body is stout and strong, then keep on chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Otherwise, in old age, very difficult to chant Hare Krishna mantra. You'll have to always, when young age, try to chant the name of Krishna. So actually, you'll see that as stated by Prahlad Maharaj at the beginning of this chapter, Kaumar Acharet Pragya. The word Pragya refers to one who is experienced and who can distinguish right from wrong. Such a person should not waste his energy and valuable human lifetime simply working like a cat or dog to develop his economic condition. विफले से विनु कृपण दूर जन चपल सखल गिरे भजहुरे मन श्रीनंदनंदन भय चरण विंदले. दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तर हुए भव सिंधुरे. What is the need of serving miserly persons and wasting your time? Instead, you can chant Hare Krishna mantra in that time. Hari 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 विफले जन्म गायनो मनुष्य जन्म पाया मनुष्य जन्म पाया राधा कृष्ण ना भजिया मनुष्य जन्म पाया राधा कृष्ण ना भजिया जानिया सुनिया विष खाएनो जानिया सुनिया विष खाएनो हरि हरि विफले जन्म गायनो. Narottam Das Thakur herein says that he repents for having spoiled his human life and knowingly drank poison by not being Krishna conscious when willingly drinks the poison of material life. The purport is that one certainly becomes addicted to sinful activities when he becomes devoid of his good chaste wife and when he has lost his good sense and does not take the Krishna consciousness. So basically, we should not waste our time in this mundane pursuit. So for one word in this verse, there are two readings, Bhavam Ashrita and Bhayam Ashrita. But accepting the meaning of either of them will bring one to the same conclusion. Bhayam Ashrita indicates that the materialistic way of life is always fearful because at every step there is danger. Materialistic life, every step there is a danger. Materialistic life is full of anxieties and fear. Bhayam. Similarly, accepting the reading Bhavam Bhayam Ashrita, the bhav. If one wants to live without devotional service, his status as a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra certainly has no meaning. It is said, "Sthana Prasthatantyara." Whether one is in a higher or lower division, one certainly falls down from want of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Mahaprabhu told, "Nam vipro na chadarapatir, napi vaishyo na shudro, no avarni na chagrapatir, vanastho yatirva, kintu prodyan nikhila paramananda purnamrutabdher, gopi bhartru padakamalayur dasa dasa dasa." Mahaprabhu told, I am not Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahman. I am only the servant of Sri Krishna. That's all. So we should try to be servant of Sri Krishna. We have no other purpose. We want to be the servant of Sri Krishna. A sane man, therefore, is always fearful of falling from his position. The highest goal of life can be achieved as long as one's body is stout and strong, and we should therefore live in such a way that we keep ourselves always healthy and strong in mind and intelligence so that we can distinguish the goal of life from a life full of problems. A thoughtful man must act in this way, learning to distinguish right from wrong and thus attain the goal of life. Verse 6, 7.6.6. Pumso varsha shatam hayustadardham chajitatmana nishphalam yada sauratriam shetendha prapitastama. Now here is showing us, Prahlad Maharaj is showing us that how we are wasting the human form of life. Simply wasting the human form of life. Sleeping, over too much eating and too much sleeping is counterproductive. If we eat too much and sleep too much, that will not help us. पुंसो वर्ष शतम ह्यायुस्तदर्घ्यं चाजितात्मना निष्फलं यदसौ रात्र्यां शेते अन्नं प्रापितस्तमा. Pumsa of every human being. Varshishatam, 100 years. He indeed Ayu, duration of life. Tat of that Ardham of Cha. Ajitin Atmana, of a person who is a servant of his senses. Yushpalam, without profit, without meaning. Yet because Asau, that person, Ratriam at night, Shete, sleeps. Andham, ignorance, forgetting his body and soul. Prapita, being completely possessed of Tama, darkness. Every human being has a maximum duration of life of 100 years. But for one who cannot control his senses, half of those years are completely lost because at night he sleeps 12 hours, being covered by ignorance. And therefore such a person has a lifetime of only 50 years. So you see that people very much like sleeping. They make very comfortable arrangements uh, so that they can sleep peacefully. But sleep is actually a waste of time. Sleep is wasted. Those who have taken to Krishna consciousness should be very careful that not a single moment is wasted and that not a single moment is spent without chanting and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his activities. So we should be very careful. Nidraya, Nidraya, Riyate Anni. That is actually Bhagavatam tells another shlokas. Nidraya, simply Nidraya Riyate Naktam Divacha Vyartha Karma Bhi. First canto, 16 chapter 9 verse. Amazing verse. Mandasya Manda Pragyasya Mandasya Manda Pragyasya Kyo Manda Yutashtabhai Nidraya Riyate Hiyate Naktam Divacha Vyartha Karma Bhi. These human beings with paltry intelligence and a short duration of life pass the night sleeping and the day performing activities that are for naught. So the less intelligent don't know the real value of the human form of life. The human form is a special gift of material nature in the course of her enforcing stringent laws of miseries upon the living being. It is a chance to achieve the highest boon of life, namely to get out of the entanglement of repeated birth and death. The intelligent take care of this important gift by strenuously endeavoring to get out of the entanglement. But the less intelligent are lazy and unable to evaluate the gift of the human body to achieve liberation from the material bondage. They become more interested in so called economic development and work very hard throughout life simply for the sense enjoyment of the temporary body. Sense enjoyment is also allowed to the lower animals by the law of nature, and thus a human being is also destined to a certain amount of sense enjoyment according to his past or present life. But one should definitely try to understand that sense enjoyment is not the ultimate goal of human life. Herein it is said that during the daytime one works for nothing because the aim is nothing but sense enjoyment. We can particularly observe how the human being is engaged for nothing in the great cities and industrial towns. There are so many things manufactured by human energy, but they are all meant for sense enjoyment and not for getting out of material bondage. And after working hard during the daytime, a tired man either sleeps or engages in sex habits at night. That is the program of materialistic civilized life for the less intelligent. And therefore, they are designated herein as lazy, unfortunate, and short lived. So, Prahlad Maharaj is telling, Nidrayariyate naktam vyavayena chavavaya divacharte haya rajan kutumba varanena cha. The lifetime of such an envious householder is passed at night either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and in the daytime either in making money or maintaining family members. The present human civilization is primarily based on the principles of sleeping and sex indulgence at night and earning money in the day and spending the same for family maintenance. Such a form of human civilization is condemned by the Bhagavad school. Because human life is a combination of matter and spirit soul. The whole process of Vedic knowledge is directed at liberating the spirit soul from the contamination of matter. The knowledge concerning this is called Atma Tattva. Those men who are too materialistic are unaware of this knowledge and are more inclined to economic development for material enjoyment. Um, Such materialistic men are called karmis or fruitive laborers, and they are allowed regulated economic development or association of women for sex intelligence. Those who are above the karmis, that is the Gyanis, yogis, and devotees, are strictly prohibited from sex indulgence. The karmis are more or less devoid of Atma Tattva knowledge, and as such, their life is spent without spiritual profit. Human life is not meant for hard labor, for economic development, nor is it meant for sex indulgence like that of the dogs and hogs. It is specially meant for making a solution to the problems of material life and the miseries thereof. So the Karamis waste their valuable human life by sleeping and sex indulgence at night and by laboring hard in the daytime to accumulate wealth. And after doing so, they try to improve the standard of materialistic life. The materialistic way of life is described herein in a nutshell, and how foolishly men waste the boon of human life is described as follows. So people are simply wasting the boon of human life. Deha patya kalatradishu atmasanneshwa satsapi tesham pramatto nidanam pasyannapi na pashyati. Persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. So, here it is told Lord Brahma, a human being, and an ant all live for 100 years. But their lifetimes of 100 years are different from one another. This world is a relative world, and its relative moments of time are different. Thus, the 100 years of Brahma are not the same as the 100 years of a human being. From Bhagavad Gita, we understand that Brahma's daytime of 12 hours uh, equals 4,300,000 times 1,000 years. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmana Vidhu. Thus, the Varsha Shatam or 100 years are relatively different according to time, person, and circumstances. As far as human beings are concerned, the calculation given here is right for the general public. Although one has a maximum of 100 years of life, by sleeping one loses 50 years. Eating, sleeping, sex life, and fear are the four bodily necessities. But to utilize the full duration of life, a person desiring to advance in spiritual consciousness must reduce these activities. That will give him an opportunity to fully use his lifetime. So basically, eating, sleeping, and sex life and fear, they should be reduced. Means we should eat less, not eat too much, and then also we should sleep less. So it is also told that don't sleep too much. But if we eat too much, then we'll sleep too much. If we eat too much, then also there'll be desire for more sex life because pressure will be coming on genitals, belly and genitals. And fear is also there. So therefore, we should reduce our sleep. Like Goswamis, Taktva Turnamashesha Mandalapatim Shranim Sada Tuchavat Bhutva Dina Ganeshako Karunaya Kopina Kantashita. Gopi Bhavar Samrata Pilari Kallola Magno Muru Pande Rupa Sanatana Yugayoshi Gopal. They should hardly sleep. Muktasya balle kaishore kridato yati vimshati jaraya grasta dehasya yatya kalpasya vimshati. Muktasya, of a person bewildered or not in perfect knowledge. Balle in childhood, kaishore in boyhood, Kridata, playing. So this is actually Kridati. The children are very much attached to sports, so they waste their time like that. Yati, passes. Vimshati, 20 years. Jaraya, by invalidity. Grasta dehasya, of a person overcome. Yati, passes. Akalpasya, without determination, being unable to execute even material activities. Vimshati, another 20 years. In the tender age of childhood, when everyone is bewildered, one passes 10 years. Similarly, in boyhood, engaged in sporting and playing, one passes another 10 years. In this way, 20 years are wasted. Similarly, in old age, when one is an invalid, unable to perform even material activities, one passes another 20 years wastefully. So in India also you see that some people are playing cricket, others are watching and just clapping. But it is actually a lot of waste of time goes on. 5 days test matches. Now no one is interested in test matches. So you see that. So in the tender age of childhood, when everyone is bewildered and one passes 10 years. Similarly, in boyhood, engaged in sporting and playing, one passes another 10 years. In this way, 20 years are wasted. Similarly, in old age, when one is an invalid, unable to perform even material activities, one passes another 20 years wastefully. Without Krishna consciousness, one wastes 20 years in childhood and boyhood and another 20 years in old age. When one cannot perform any material activities and is full of anxiety about what is to be done by his sons and grandsons and how one's estate should be protected, half of these years are spent in sleep. Furthermore, one wastes another 30 years sleeping at night during the rest of his life. Thus, 70 years of one's 100 years are wasted by a person who does not know the aim of life and how to utilize this human form. So we'll stop here today. We have covered at least 5-6 verses about 10 canto of about the 7 canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. These are very important teachings. So I think we will continue discussing Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Gurudev's book, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj book, and we'll study Bhagavatam nicely because Bhagavatam is a very important book. We must get the injection every day, especially from the writings of Srila Gurudev, from Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpataru vaishya kripa sindhu vijaprithanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namah. So tomorrow is the Paran is after sunrise. So please remember, perform Paran on time. Happy Nursing Chaturdashi to all of you. Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. Dandavats. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavad Prams. Thank you so much. Sorry, Mad. So today we're not recording this for tomorrow's class. We're going to start from page 25, right?
Yeah, actually, this was a special class. Today being the appearance day of this Narsingadev, Srila Gurudev always wanted us to discuss the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. Something connected with the character of from Bhagavatam, from teachings of Prahlad. And the teachings of Prahlad are very, very important for our spiritual life. So that's why today we did not discuss the regular Bhagavatam of Srila Gurudev, but we read the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. And we also read from the books of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, his Bhagavatam, because that is available in English language and it is in very easy language. So I wrote.
Sure, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So we'll tomorrow I think I'll conduct the class and then I have to actually not a long class tomorrow because I'm traveling to Lucknow tomorrow. So tomorrow maybe a small class and then I will. Yes. because we have to go to a nearby station called Gudur, and then from there we have to catch a train to Lucknow, which is the capital city of uh, Uttar Pradesh, and then also after that I will have to stay in Vrindavan in Anand Dham. Sripadandi Maharaj told me, because there is a Goshala there and Gurukul. So we want to help Shri Anand Sarup Kela, the founder of that institution. He was his Gurudev disciple to manage Anand Dham properly, especially the Gurukul aspect, the education aspect, and because the Gurukul is important. The Sripad Dandi Maharaj always gives precedence to the education of the children and giving them values from early age. They should have the mundane education also, means the secular education also they must have. At the same time, they must also be trained in Bhagavad Gita philosophy. Because simply having secular education will not help. Some Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam education should be given to the children. So if you know even at least the basic principles of Bhagavad Gita, then they will be not disturbed when the challenges come. And they should be aware of what is the goal of human life. That human life, the goal of human life is to get Krishna Prem. So Prahlad Maharaj again and again told us, Nate vidu swartha gatim Vishnu. Nate vidu swartha gatim Vishnu. People don't know that the goal of life is to please Lord Vishnu. Even if the people spend a lot of money, but they are not taught in the schools, in public schools or private schools or residential schools, expensive schools. They are not taught the real essence of Vedic culture. Nate vidu swartha gatim Vishnu. So our institutions, gurukuls, are meant to teach this, that your goal of life is to understand Krishna. Nate vadu swartha gatim Vishnu. Durashaye pairartha manina. Andha yathandhe upaniyamanas. Tepisha tantryam urdam nibaddha. So Prahlad's teachings, again and again, Prahlad Maharaj is telling. These are important verses. मतिर्न कृष्णे परतस्वतो वा मिथो विपद्येत् गृहव्रतानाम् अदान्तगोभिर्विशतां तमिस्रं पुनः पुनश्चर्वितचर्वणानाम् न ते विदु स्वार्थगतिं हि विष्णुं दुराशाये भैरर्थमानिना अन्धायथान्धैरुपनीयमानास्ते पीशतन्त्र्याम् उरुदां निबद्धा नैषां मतिस्तावदुरुक्रमाङ्घ्रिं स्पृशर्त्यनर्थागमोपयदर्था महीयसां पादरजोऽभिषेकं निष्किञ्चनानां न वृणीत यावत्. Persons who are determined to totally rot in false material happiness cannot become Krishna minded, either by instructions from teachers, by self-realization, or by parliamentary discussions. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chewing the chewed. Suppose you have chewed the sugar cane, again you try to chew it, no juice will come. Understand? If you have chewed the mango skin and pulp, then if you again chew the chewed mango skin, no juice will come out of it. So, again and again we are engaging in the same sense gratification. There is no real happiness in that. Because of their foolish activities, they are unaware that the ultimate goal of human life is to achieve Vishnu, the Lord of cosmic manifestation. So we have to develop love for Vishnu, love for Krishna. And so their struggle for existence is in the wrong direction of material civilization, which is under the external energy. And they are led by similar foolish persons, just as one blind man is led by another blind man, and both fall in the ditch. So they make guru also like that. People, materialistic persons make a materialistic guru. Guru is also blind, the follower is also blind, so both fall in the ditch. So such foolish men cannot be attracted towards the activities of the Supreme Powerful, who is actually the neutralizing measure for their foolish activities, unless and until they have the good sense to be guided by the great souls who are completely freed from material attachment. So unless and until one bathes in the foot dust of Vaishnavas, Bhakta pada dhuliyar bhakta pada jala, Bhakta bhukta vashatina sadhanera bala, Aitina sevaite Krishna prema haya, Sarva Veda Shastrai Fukarya. So one has to bathe in the dust of the foot dust of a Vaishnava. One has to honor his remnants and his Harikatha. So, Nate Vidhu Swartha Gati Me Vishnu. They do not know that the real interest and the highest perfection of life is to worship Lord Vishnu. And we are supposed in Gurukul system to teach all these things to the children from early age. So, Shripad Dandi Maharaj and Srila Guru, they also wanted Gurukul. He started a Gurukul in Bajar. Bajar is, I went there actually. Many good Gurukulis came out of that school, and now someone donated them some land, and they are also constructing another nice building there for Gurukul. I saw. So Gurudev always encouraged Gurukul system, and Swami Maharaj also started Gurukul in New Vrindavan, Austin, Texas, so that devotees can be trained from early age. So these are all Gurukuls based on the life of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad was trained right from the womb of the mother. So our Prahlad Maharaj, we should also train our children right from the womb. From day one, they should be trained. So then they will become first class devotees. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpataru Vasya Kripa Sindhu Patyanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. That else. Hare
Hare Krishna Marge. Dandavat Prams, thank you so much for your time. So Marge, tomorrow you said you have limited time. Tomorrow is
Yes.
also Friday. Tomorrow is also Friday, a reminder to you. And it's Chaitanya Charitam Chaitanya Charitam Lilamrita tomorrow, and we're gonna do Bhagavatam. So just a reminder for your time.
Sure.
Thank
We'll
you,
do
Marge.
some time Chaitanya Charitamrut and Chaitanya and Bhagavat also. Even if it is less time, there is a necessity to read, even if it is for a short while. These books are so important that even little bit Salpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahatuvaya. Even if we can read one verse of Bhagavatam and one verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, still it's worth it. Because it is told in the scriptures that you should read at least one verse of Bhagavatam every day. If you cannot read one verse, then read half verse. And if you cannot read half verse, you should read at least one quarter verse. For example, every day you should recite one verse of Bhagavatam. If you don't know any verse, then the very easy verse is in the prayers of Kunti. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Nama. Prayers of King Kunti. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda and other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. But if you cannot remember the whole verse, then you can say half verse. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Nama. At least reading half verse every day. And if you cannot remember the half verse, then at least saying the quarter verse. Govindaya Namo Namaha. 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 So it is told in Bhagavad Mahatmya that wherever a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam or even a half verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is recited, Lord Krishna and his beloved gopis manifest there. After attaining a human birth in the land of Bharat, Those who do not hear Srimad Bhagavatam due to sinful activities are committing suicide. A person who regularly hears or recites Srimad Bhagavatam delivers the forefathers of his wife, mother, and father. By studying and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahmanas are enlightened with knowledge, Kshatriyas achieve victory over their enemies, Vaishyas acquire wealth, and Shudras are freed from disease. Women and lower class people all achieve the fulfillment of their desires. Therefore, what fortunate person will not regularly hear and chant the Srimad Bhagavatam? After many lifetimes of performing pious activities, when a person achieves full perfection, then he obtains the Srimad Bhagavatam. By reading Srimad Bhagavatam, one's devotional sentiments are awakened and Lord Krishna manifests within the heart. Ah. So long ago, Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, heard the Srimad Bhagavatam by the mercy of Shankhayana Muni Rishi. And Brihaspati has narrated the same to me. So this is going on. So Bhagavatam is very, very important scripture. So especially today we read the Prahlad's teachings. So Prahlad Maharaj is one of the Mahajans. He is a Dwadash Mahajan. And Bhagwan always tried to protect him. And he was from his childhood, he was practicing devotional service. So Yamaraj is also Mahajan actually. But if you hear Bhagavatam and Prahlad's character, every day we should glorify this Bhagavatam. So what is the Mahajan means? The word Mahajan means authority. And according to the Vedic Shastras, there are 12 authorities. Prahlad is also an authority. These are Swayambhu, Narad, Shambhu, Kumar, Kapila, Manu, Prahlad, Janaka, Bhishma, Bali, Shukdev Goswami, and Yamaraj. Swayambhu is Brahma and Shambhu is Lord Shiva. These authorities should be followed if we want to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead and understand the purpose of religion's life. Mahajano yena gatha sapantha. We should follow in the footsteps of great Mahajan like Prahlad. Tarko pratishtha shratayo vivinna nasavarushiryasya matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya mahajano yena gatha sapantha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. So simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajanas advocate. So who is Mahajan? Then Prahlad is the Mahajan. So we read today these teachings of this great Mahajan, Prahlad Maharaj. So every day we should study at least one verse of Bhagavad Gita, one verse of Bhagavatam, along with our regular class. Hare Krishna. Vanchakal Patruvesha Kripas. Vridanam Bhavanipi Vaishnavibhyo Namo. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So, Anangman Prabhu Chaitanya, please.
Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Giridhari Radha Vinod Vyaraji ki jai. Vishnupad Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Vishnu Deity Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Vishnupad Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Dandi Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Stotra Shata Shri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Parama Bhagavad Prabhupada Shri Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Shri Srila Santidananda Bhakti Thakur ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Vaishnava Boma Shri Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya Shri Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushan Prabhu ki jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Srila Narottam Srinivasan Nanda Prabhu Tray ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhat Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Badas Raghunath Sach Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Swarup Damodar Aya Ramanandari Shri Gaura Prasad Vindi ki jai. नाम शैल श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री अंतरद्वीप मायापुर सीमांतद्वीप गोद्रुमद्वीप मध्यद्वीप कोलाद्वीप ऋतुद्वीप जानुद्वीप मोदद्वीप रुद्रद्वीप पद्मकाशी नवद्वीप धाम की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपाल गोपी गोवर्धन द्वादश वनत मकाशी ब्रजमंडल की जय। श्री राधाकुंड श्यामकुंड गंगा यमुना तुलसी भक्ति की जय। श्रीमती बिंदु देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय। श्री गोपीश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र जीव की जय। क्षेत्र मंदिर की जय। सर्व विघ्न विनाश कृष्ण शनिदेव की जय। भक्त प्रभाषी प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। चार धाम की जय। चार संप्रदाय के चार चाय की जय। अकर महाराज चैतन्य माँ की जय। श्री केशव जी गौरी मात ओत सख मात समा की जय। ग्रंथ राशि मद भागवतम की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। सामगात भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री जय गौर प्रेम में हरि हरि बोल।
जय क्षमा जय शरण मन प्रभु की जय। क्षमा करो दया करो कृष्ण में गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तले कृष्णाय कृष्ण। थैंक यू सो मच ऑल डिवोटीज। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण। धन्यवाद प्रणाम। श्रीपद भक्ति वेदांत विश्व देव महाराज की जय।
हरे कृष्ण।
कृपा सिद्धि पतितनां
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय विशाखा दीदी की जय। दंडवत। हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, thank you so much for your time again, and thank you, dear devotees, for joining in for 2 classes today. So we'll see you all tomorrow, same time for Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Amrita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you again, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you Vishaka didi. Hare Krishna. Dhanwad.
Thank you.